Now, Russell Brand has revealed that on a recent commute between London and LA, he was annoyed when he was stopped by officials because of his bad boy past. I got held up in customs in LA for an hour, he fumed, because of previous convictions. It's like being 16 again. So, like Russell, have we had recent encounters that have reminded us of our old selves, whether we've wanted them or not?
Well, he should be used to that because he's always had it because of his drugs past. He always gets frisked when he goes to America. He wrote about it in his first book. And he always gets taken off into a room and he always talks about it. So he should get used to it. But, like Russell, I mean, you do sometimes forget that certain things happen. He's been clean for 6 years now, so... You know, I'm sure he doesn't think about the fact that he was a junkie or an addict all the time, so you kind of forget, and then that reminds you. And I think it does happen to me. I do actually forget sometimes that I was married to Chris Evans. I honestly do. I completely forget about it. And sometimes I see a picture of him and I go, oh, yeah, I was married to him. And, you know, every time I do, like, an interview or anything for a magazine, that shoot I did for Closer, that article, they've put a little picture of me and him in there as well. And I look at it and I think, what's he doing? Oh, yeah, I was married to him. So it does kind of haunt you. I don't regret anything, of course I don't, but... You know, it just comes back every time.
Like
you can never get away
It's like
from
a number, isn't it? You know, Lynda Bellingham, divorced, you know, mother of 2, age 61, Oxo mum. It goes on and on, and I think, oh, for goodness sake. But I was reminded, you probably have been too, writing in the autobiography, you have to go through your past.
Yeah,
and it's the reminder brings me into these kind of memories that have nothing to do with the reality of it, actually, probably, because when we were driving down to Aylesbury the other night to see my brother-in-law, I was pointing things out of interest to Mr. Spain. And this is the bus stop I used to snog my first love. and oh, yeah, OK, Linda. And we got back to have supper with and my first love was actually at the dinner, because we're still friends, right? So, but his memories were not the same as my memories. Do you know what I mean? No, it's a bit of a worry. And I was going on about this pub that we used to go to when I was at school called the Dark Lantern, which is, he said, is still there because he still lives in Aylesbury. And I was going, oh, it was great fun because we used to take my tie off and roll my skirt up and go into the pub and have half a cider and all that. And he went, yeah, but you used to talk to all those criminals. I said, what do you mean, those criminals? He said, yeah, you remember all those guys used to go to prison all the time? I said, no, I don't remember that. And apparently these blokes... I remember the blokes very clearly, and you'd be talking to them one week, and then the next week I'd say, where's that bloke? You know, oh, he's gone away.
Gone away.
But I didn't know, did I?
He gone away, he's been put away.
And then he'd come back again. And then I remember my dad saying to me years later, well, we were very grateful in a way, we were very worried about you, Linda, at the time, when you went through all these, you know, strange... blokes in the pub, he said, because we never got burgled. There was a rush of burglaries. And they obviously left us alone, thanks to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what? She's funny, isn't she? You're too posh for all that lark.
Yeah.
Well, it's got nothing to do with how you talk.
No, but darling, you're brilliant.
But can I just say, actually, quickly, the nice memory I had of the other day was, this is more posh, I was making meringues. And that sounds more like me, doesn't it? There I was, making meringues, and you had to put rose water in them. And do you remember when you used to make perfume out of rose petals? Oh. Well, I went off on one, I was there. Oh, it was lovely.
I used to wear it to school. Yes. Well, I was making a Christmas calendar. I've got a friend of mine that started a printing business, so I was, like, looking through all these photographs, and I made one for my nanny, who's 80 plus. And,
and here's your nanny.
Where's my nanny? No, but you're going to laugh, because there's 2 of them. Look, she's a twin! She's an identical twin!
And that's your little...
That's Jakey in the middle, look. And so that's one of... I've ruined the surprise now. That's one of the photographs. But do you know what it did take me back? It took me back, because I'm feeling quite festive, I suppose, of all those memories of Christmases with my nan, my Auntie Linda, Uncle John, Auntie Sue, Uncle Paul, Nan's twin sister, all her family, and we used to have such an amazing Christmas. We used to go up to Liverpool, which is where they live, play games, and all the kids had their own tables, you know, to have their dinner with. And it just took me back, and I thought, my God, you know what? The last 3 or 4 Christmases, I've been nowhere near there, because you get so busy and you get caught up, and we're abroad this Christmas, and I thought, when was the last time I had Christmas with my little nan and the whole family?
Why don't you do it this year?
Because I'm going to be on a ship, darling.
You're doing on a ship?
I'm singing for me supper. Someone's got to pay the bills.
Well, talking of singing, I got asked a couple of weeks ago...
To sing?
No, that would be torment for anyone who had to listen. No, I got asked to go and host a gig for Radio 2. It was at the BBC Theatre, and it was with Spandau Ballet. And I loved Spandau Ballet when I was a kid. I was such a pop junkie. I used to make loads of tapes from the radio, play and record, the top 40, you know.
You were either a Spandau or a Durrani.
You were.
Actually, I was a whammy.
I was a Durrani.
I was a whammy.
He was a whammy.
Which meant that I could love Duran and Spandau in equal measure without feeling disloyal, because they were my second choice. Wham were always my first.
Me too, with you.
George Michael with his Lady Diana hair was unbeatable. So, and I'm stood there, and you forget all of the great songs that these guys wrote, and they were... And do you know what? It was such a great night, and I forgot I was working. I forgot I was hosting. I ended up dancing with little socks off, stood in the aisle, sweating. I had such a good night, and it reminded me of lying on my bed at home, trying to get my jeans done up. You know, when your jeans were so tight, it was almost a medical complaint was around the corner. Yeah. And the smell of hairspray. I used to have this horrible flick that didn't move, even in a high wind, with makeup literally inspired by Pat Butcher. I mean, I was a horror on legs. But that night, for 2 hours, I wasn't Ben's mum, I wasn't a loose woman, I was just a kind of slightly plump 14-year-old running around in tight jeans, having a great time again. It was a lovely thing, and music can do that to you as well.
You haven't changed then?
Not a minute. Do you know what? I've been away on my holidays. I saw her for the first time last night. Walked into this party, went to a party, and I said, "Oh, Carol, your hair looks lovely." And she went, "Oh, my God, what are you wearing?" She did. Take the shame, you horrible woman. OK, it's competition.